All right, so we are Hard for Games, and today we are rocking Burning Rangers.
Ooh.
So, little facts about Burning Rangers that we're just going to get the hell out of the way.
It was made by Sonic Team. It was one of the last, in fact, games for the Saturn before they just full-on abandoned that.
Released
in the US.
In 1998?
It utilized transparencies, and very few games did because it was technically cumbersome to do so. It was very technically impressive. Blah, 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 blah. You can look up all that crap on Wikipedia. Every other review mentions all the stuff. It's important, yes, but what is important to us?
The experience.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to know what it's like to be burning and to be a ranger. So, for the ranger part, we're going to play the game. And for the burning part, I'm going to drink Prairie Fires while we're doing this review. Yeah, and they've got spicy beers, which I'll also be having, so that my little burning ranger is going to remind me tomorrow.
Cheers.
Cheers.
They're hard for games. Games are hard, they're hard for games. Games are hard, they're hard for games. Games are hard, they're hard for games. Yeah, they're so hard. They're hard for games. Yeah, they're so hard.
So, this game does have a bit of regionalization issues where... how do I describe it? You know an anime where they have an American person's name and it sounds crazy? This game has a lot of that, and it has some fantastic English in the intro video. Let's take a look now. Sense a spillet second. Treasure the life. Have goddess on your wings. I love how, for the main character, they're like, we're going to give him what I assume would be a futuristic Japanese name. Sho Amabane? Maybe? I don't know. I butchered it. But they're like, what's like a futuristic girl name? Tillis.
Yeah.
That sounds like an issue you'd get with your wrist. Like, I'm sorry, I used to play professional racquetball, but I had a horrible bout of Tillis, and I've just never been the same since.
It's a vitamin D deficiency of some kind.
But I definitely think we should play as Tillis.
Yeah, do it for the boobs.
Yeah, gotta play for anime boobs.
I'm going to take you through the basics. Mastering these techniques are critical to becoming a ranger. I'm Chris Parton, the leader of the Burning Rangers.
Chris
and your
Parton.
navigator for this exercise.
Yeah, I like how there's only one vowel in that name.
So, Dan's now engrossed in being a Burning Ranger, which means that his job is to now fly around and shoot fire with lasers. And then that somehow turns fire into big red crystals, which are kind of like Sonic's rings, in that they're sort of like you drop them if you get hurt, and you can pick them up, but you also spend them to bring some sort of rainbow bridge to teleport people trapped in the fire out of the fire. It's the future. I don't understand it either. Yasushi Nuremberg.
Huh.
Okay.
Alright, here we are.
This game got traded in at Retrotaku recently. Unfortunately, it sold before we could play it. But when I had to test the disc, I thought, man, for, 1998, the 32-bit game, I'm not fighting with the camera too much. Like, every now and then, I'm like, okay, I gotta press the L or R button to grab some stuff, but like,
But
right
it's
now,
easily adjusted.
just one finger and it tracks me well. It isn't like those early 3D games. The most dangerous enemy was the camera, and it was trying to kill you every chance it could.
This game's not gonna Resident Evil you anytime soon.
Yeah. Oh no, you almost became a Jill sandwich. Oh, there it is. Okay.
So, it's a game that's got quick reflex reactions to these explosions, which are apparently the single biggest threat to mankind in this version of dystopian future universe. But then it's got elements of relatively precise platforming, and it kind of throws a lot at you. Plus, there is kind of a shooter aspect in it. I mean, granted, you're shooting fire with a laser, and somehow that makes it not be a fire. But I guess-
And turns it into a crystal.
Yeah, no, it's cool. That's how that works.
Like, I think even alchemists would have been like, well, that's a bit rich.
Uh-oh.
Whoa!
Oh, more fire. More fire.
Why? Why?
Everything's on fire.
Crime is confusing. Why? So, you press a button,
Chris! In front of you and towards the right.
and you get this voice that describes where you need to go. So it said, in front of me and to the right, which was correct. So I'm a big fan of the Armored Core games back in the day, and there were a lot of like sweet action in those, but as soon as you'd kill an enemy, it would just be like, okay, now I need to hunt and find the next enemy. And this, it's just like, next fire, move, move, move. You are just cruising through, and anytime you think like, uh-oh, I think I'm lost, you just press that button, and they're like, no, you're going backwards, turn around. And then they'll be like, okay, to the upper left in this room. And you're like, oh man, it's just keeps you moving, which is very good. There was a lot of loss of flow in this generation of games.
Also, the one thing here is actually you don't have to rescue anybody.
Yeah, I mean, if you really just wanted to be a firefighting dick in space, you have that option.
Yeah.
The power is... I mean, really, you could take the evil timeline on a game where you're a firefighter.
Apparently we're getting to some sort of final event, maybe boss event. Oh,
A boss fire?
yeah, maybe.
It's going to be a grease fire.
I heard them say something about they're breeding a type of fire plant or something like that.
Just wait until we get to the end. It's going to be one giant grease fire in the food court. The PF Chang's is the boss fight. Let's talk about the presentation. First thing you can kind of see as we're playing through here is they did a lot with lighting effects and with those fire effects with that transparency. Creates a pretty dazzling, for the era, series of visual effects.
Very colorful.
Honestly, the 3D on this Saturn game looks better than most PlayStation games that I've seen that are of a similar genre.
Right. It displays a lot more fluidly, and you move through that three-dimensional environment much more seamlessly.
Exactly.
And I mean, of course, it was going to be a Sonic Team title that really used the Saturn for everything it was worth on that topic.
Well, this is actually running on a heavily modified version of the Nights into Dreams engine. And
Which is crazy.
yeah, so it's like, it's Nights into Dreams. It was a good game, but it was like, as far as being technically impressive, it was colorful, it was fun,
Yeah.
But I could see how they could modify it and create something like this where it's, take something that's good, make it even better.
Well, we did terribly.
Of course we did terribly. It's truly very Sonic Team to rate you at the end of a level, and
Yeah.
I always get D's.
Oh, they never have
You
good
never get
things
the
to
S
say.
or the A rank.
No, never.
No.
Well, we got a B for the boss.
Ooh.
We beat that boss.
Well, I know I've said this earlier, but I am just shocked at the quality of the 3D here. And it really goes to show where the potential of the Saturn was leading to if you knew how to work it.
If you could get through the almost impossible Saturn coding language.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, its architecture was just baffling.
If you were a first-party team that had access to everything.
Yes, it turns out if you were an in-house project who knew exactly how everything worked, it was great.
And yeah.
If you had to figure any of this out for yourself, God help you.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
the Saturn was more powerful than the PlayStation technically, but no one could utilize it. Speaking of presentation, now we're in a water level.
Ooh.
And normally when you hear Sega and water level, you just get mad, but this is enjoyable.
This could have potential.
So, why is the water level on fire?
It does beg the question, doesn't it?
future, John. I just want to make the point that they put so much effort on her model, like her texture of her butt, to have a butt crack line. Like, it was very important.
She
Yeah.
might just have a really sweaty butt, and that could be crack sweat.
Well, that makes it even hotter.
Yeah.
Does it?
Literally.
Literally hot.
Oh, yeah, I guess in that sense. I was going to say, normally swamp ass is not an attractive
But
thing.
also, really hot for me.
On the whole, the
You know what I'm
important
doing.
question here with a game like this, is it enjoyable?
Yeah, if I had rented this back in the day, I'd be very happy.
It really does feel like Spider-Man was a firefighter.
That's a good
Like, you're
way to look
bouncing,
at
you're
it.
flipping, you're jumping, you're doing all this crazy crap,
We are actually playing on a Phoebe right now, which is like an SD reader that replaces the disc reader. And I would like to personally thank Rick Z of the Detroit Arcade Club for lending this to us on short notice when somebody bought the disc we were originally going to review.
Is it worth what you're paying for it?
Depends on what you're paying for it and really if you're paying for it, I think. Now, John had mentioned before that the beautiful complete in-box version that they had at RetroTaku was like $340.
Minty.
Like minty.
Absolutely
A regular
perfect.
complete in-box, maybe $320. Loose, you're still looking in the $200 range.
No. About $125.
$125, excuse me. You know, Saturn emulation isn't where it should be, so it's hard
It's very cumbersome on
Yeah.
most machines.
So it's difficult to it's cumbersome, difficult to, emulate games properly. So if you want to play it, you either have to pay for a Phoebe mod, or find a way to do it, or buy the game. So is it worth it?
Tough one. If you're a real Sega diehard and looking for something unusual, I can easily justify buying a loose copy. If that sort of weirdness and unicality that comes with this game doesn't mean much to you, it's probably a forgettable title. It's the sort of thing you can walk away from and go, well, that was fun to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it really all comes down to how much do you value a weird title.
And there are plenty of those on the Saturn.
There certainly are.
This is one of the rare ones that's both strange and actually entertaining to play for reasons beyond it being mind-bendingly weird. And there is a value in that. I find an honest enjoyment in it.
I definitely see why people enjoy this game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it for a complete in-box copy, or like $300, $200. Like,
I wouldn't pay that much for it.
Tony, maybe, myself 5 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, that's, These days, I'm less willing to spend that kind of cash. Now I'm like, that's a washing machine.
Yeah, that's my new trees.
That's like I could buy a really amazing grill and actually get functional use out of it day after day. You know what I mean? So it's like it depends on what you do with your money and how you value your money. I think is the biggest thing.
It's fun.
It's a fun little game.
Yeah.
It grabbed you.
It grabbed me in
Yeah.
all the right places. So hey, thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you all next time. Thank you for subbing, clicking that notification button, all that good stuff.
They're hard for games.